So go ahead and turn part 5 off. Let's go to top view. Left click on sketch, left click top plane, left click center point circle, hover over the center, click on that, drag that out, go up, left click on the dimension tool, left click on the edge, and let's set that at 0.73. Hit enter, and then close that out. Let's go over to the front plane, use the wheel, roll the wheel on the mouse to scale that down or to zoom out. Left click on sketch, left click on the front plane, left click on the line tool, hover over the center, left click on that line, bring that up, left click again, come over, left click again, and then go down until you see that yellow dashed line, left click. Hit escape as you pull that away. Let's go in and set our dimensions. So let's go and set this one to 3 inches. Hit enter. It'll automatically set this one at 3. We're going to go ahead and set that ourselves. Hit enter, left click on the center line, and let's set that to 15 inches. Hit enter. Go over to our sketch fillet tool. Left click on this line, left click on this one. We're going to set the radius of the bend to 1 inch. It's already there. Let's double click on that and just hit enter. Let's drag this down to get it out of the way. Left click here, left click here. I want to take this and drag that around. I like to see that line for radius of the bend. Hit enter, enter again. It moved it around on us, but there we go. Alright, so we've got the dimension set. Let's go ahead and close that out. Now let's go to isometric view. Let's go to sweep. Left click on the circle we created. Left click on the swept path until it turns blue. Left click on that first line, second line, third, fourth, and fifth. Make sure it's set to solid new, and that you have all the settings here. And click the check mark. Alright, we've got that. So now let's go back to front view. Let's scroll out. We're going to cut this in half. Go sketch 1, and then we will click on the front plane, left click on the line tool, and then left click, drag that down, left click again, hit escape, left click on the dimension tool, left click on this line we just created, left click here on this center line, and we want to set that at 7.5, halfway, because we're going to cut this in half, and then close that out. Now we're going to go to isometric view, left click extrude, left click surface, and now it's asking for the sketch curves to extrude. Left click on that, left click on this line. So once that line forms, we need it to be symmetric to cut that in half. It's 1 inch depth. Since this tube is 3/4 of an inch thick, 1 inch will be fine. Now let's close that out, and we're going to go up and use a new tool, split. Left click on that, left click on the part we want to cut in half, which is part 6. Left click on the entity to split with, so we're going to use this to split it in half, and that's going to create 2 parts. Now we can close that out. Let's go back to front plane. We're going to right click and rename this top harness tube, harness tube 1, and then we'll name this one top harness tube 2. So we've got 1 and 2, parts 6 and 7. All right, now that we've renamed them, let's go back up to part 6. Let's right click on that. Let's go edit appearance. Let's make it silver. Close that out. Okay, so in our original draft, we had part 6 as 1 part, but we need this to be split in half for small scale. So that's why we split it in half, not only to practice the skill, to give us another tool to use, but we need part 7 for assembly. I don't believe we've used transform, So I'm going to go ahead and left click on this so that we can have an additional tool that we'll use in the future to get repetition with it. Left click on transform, left click here where it says translate X, Y, and Z. Let's take this arrow and we can pull this over, or we could have gone to the X axis and moved it over. Let's just keep it at 1/4 of an inch, so let's hit enter. And it stays there. Let's close that out. And let's turn these two off. And we'll start on part 8. So it's going to be fairly easy to do. Let's go to left click on top view. Let's go left click on sketch, left click top plane, left click on center point circle, hover over the center, drag that out, left click on the dimension tool. We'll change that dimension to 0.73, hit enter, and let's close that out. Let's go to front plane. We're going to go left click on sketch, left click front plane. Before we select the line tool, let's scroll out because it's going to be a little bit longer. Now we need to make an adjustment, I believe, on these. Left click on the line tool, left click, hover center, drag that out, left click again, pull that away, hit escape, go up to the dimension tool, left click on that, drag that to the side, and we're going to go 22 inches for all of the spars. Let's hold the wheel down, move that back to the center, close that out. Let's left click the edge, left click sweep tool, left click that center point circle, left click on swept path until it turns blue, left click on the line, and we should have solid, new, and all these settings. So now let's click on the green check mark. Let's go down here, right click, rename. And we're just going to call this spars because all the spars should be the same length now. And let's right click on that again, edit appearance, and let's go silver, close that out. When we wrote this out on the graph paper, we had parts 6 through 9. We're really going to just do 6 through 8. In the original design, we had just written in the top harness tube, but we needed 2 of those. Based on the adjustments we made after the first 2 flights, we changed the size of the original plan after testing. Instead of needing side spars and a top spar, now we just need the spars to be the same length.